right, baby.
That music, baby, hitting different again, baby. Let's go. 3
I was
points.
completely right. I was so right about this game. I was so right. I didn't see too many people say this, but granted, I wasn't like checking out too much throughout the Twitterverse. But I said we were going to destroy them. I don't care.
I
Late
picked 2-1 win.
penalty.
I'll take 3-2. It's fine.
It was a late penalty and then a BS like second goal at the end there that like in reality the majority of the match was 3-0 Milan. Atalanta couldn't create much. They couldn't do much. We had goals from Tonali. Yeah. We had goals from Leao and then Davide Calabria within 33 seconds of the match starting. So, I mean, thrilling victory. I loved it. I'll get the wig in a second because, of course, Tonali scores after I said I do Tonali and what's his name? Maldini. So there we go. Tonali's second goal of the year. Go ahead.
First off, thank you for everyone joining us on this Sunday. Milan they're riding high right now. They're playing well. The confidence is there. They're getting the good results against good teams, despite some injuries, despite not having much of an effective striker presence, right? Because Rebic hasn't been very good, which we'll talk about, obviously. Leao, once again, very good. And I said this on Friday, that the goals are going to come. Another strike from him that just oozes confidence. A player that you know is going to break out eventually. And some good awareness by Macias to let that one go because he was offside. And Leao just deposits that. Musso flat-footed. He had nothing to do with that. Brahim was good. I thought Kessie, Tonali in the midfield. Kessie needed to step up, and I thought he played well today. I will give him credit. He played well today. Calabria was good. The fullbacks were good. Kair had his moments where he was
shaky first half, good second half.
Yeah, but he responded well in the second half. Tamori, I thought, was the best of our defenders. Magnon, the poor guy should have more clean sheets. Let's be honest here. If it's not the refs, it's not some laps.
How many of his goals have been penalties allowed? I think 2 or 3, I believe.
Yeah.
Atletico was one of them, and
this
then today.
Is another clear indication of the growth and maturity under Stefano Pioli. Now, I'm not going to say Pioli didn't make some questionable subs late because it seems these little subs he brings on, when they initially happened, you don't think anything of it because this was 3-0, right? But then it's Torre and Macias, and I thought Macias had some glimpses in this, but the subs are causing the penalties here. So that's a blemish I have to point out. But overall, all that matters is 3 points, guys. Traveling into Bergamo, separating ourselves even more, and making sure that punk Gasparini is not dancing.
It's not. Had the tweet ready and fired to go. Got it off from my boy Tony Malache, who is always every single time they're about to drop points or just even playing us, Tony always gets it. So, all right, I have to do it. I had the nice haircut, and now I have to go back to this because Tonali scored. So we'll have that for the rest. We're going to get match ratings in here soon. Let me say. I say 6.5. So we're going to just get those match ratings in from Ahmad. Shout out to everybody in chats, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, because we're doing everything in the post-match reviews today. I thought it was a great win for us, Matt. Listen, 8 points ahead of Atalanta already. 8 points. We're this early into the season. That's massive. Lazio dropped points today. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're not really so much a threat within the top 4 chase. Maybe so, but at the same time, whenever you can create separation from a team that's potentially a threat for top 4, you do it. Because how many teams now, are Milan really going to be fighting with for this top 4, where you sit there and say, okay, it's going to be Napoli, going to be Juve, going to be Inter, Atalanta in that conversation, potentially Roma. We're looking at this where now we head into the break. We picked up another 3 points. We haven't lost a match yet through all these matches. We played 3 top sides. We did not lose to any of these top sides. We had 2 away matches. Drew against Juve when we had players missing in that match. Atalanta today, they had players missing. We took advantage of it. Yeah. And that's what I was happy about. And the response from the Atletico game, again, Matt, another mental test. How do they respond? Do they keep their heads down? Does it bother them? What players maybe show up? What players maybe don't? Everyone showed up that needed to. Everyone rebounded from a gutting loss that they didn't deserve. And look now, they beat Atalanta on the road once again, continuing this great run of form that they have. I mean, I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's something special coming against Atalanta, right? Because they've been a thorn in our side. I know the result at the end of last season aside, they're a team that has always pretty much had our number, right? They put up a lot of goals on us. They've taken advantage of the fact that we were in a difficult moment these past couple years. But it's something interesting about this Milan team where we haven't seen them completely healthy. Like we haven't seen the squad, and no squad is ever going to be completely healthy.
Sure.
What I mean by that is Ibrahimovic back, Giroud healthy and able to play the full games. Krunic we haven't seen. Like these are guys that whether you like it or not, they round out your squad and they give you depth where you can call them on in games like this versus having to go to some other players that are maybe not ready for the opportunity. So the fact that Milan were able to get convincing results, and these guys, unlike last year, we're seeing that the officials are, let's be honest here, not really calling matches in our favor. They're not giving us penalties. We have 3 penalties or 2 penalties on the entire year. We're winning games on merit, quality, and just outclassing the team on the field. Not the penalties. The officials are not on our side, guys. This is a true sign of Milan's character, their strength, and as a team, being able to travel and go into difficult environments and get results.
Not afraid. Not even afraid. Dude, they hung up 3 on their head. 3. I don't care if it's a howler from Musa.
Like not fluke goals, like well orchestrated.
Muso's was a howler, but still, regardless, it's you finish off that goal. Yeah. The play was perfect. Yeah. They took the advantage of all the space that Atalanta was giving in the middle of the pitch. Starts with Kessie, goes up through to Brahim Diaz, to Teo, all the way to Calabria, who rebounds, which you follow up your shot all the time.
Yep.
And it's so great to see him score as captain for Milan.
Yeah.
Just really great. Tomori with the tackle of the season so far. We've seen a lot of great tackles so far from our center backs. I mean, Romagnoli's had a few of them. We've seen Tomori do it. We've seen Kier have good blocks. Very happy, very satisfied with everything that I've seen. Kind of upsetting for Junior Messias with that debut. Yeah, he gave up the penalty. It's annoying. It's just a difficult play. But again, but a great dummy, man. It's a great dummy for the goal that Rafael Leao has the wherewithal and the knowledge to just be like, okay, thunder at home. And our boy Carlos Sergotuing made a great point. Like, there's a few things in sports that sound great when it happens, and it involves the ball. When a home run is hit in baseball, 500 feet, the sound off the crack of the bat, the swish of the net in basketball, and literally someone thunder kicking the ball in football, calcio, and going in the back of the net. That was such a hard hit shot, and the placement was fantastic. 2 goals in a row. Take your comparisons of Mbiai and Young and shove them up your you-know-what. Because, again, I don't know how many times I have to say it.
And the one thing about Leao, too, that I'm also noticing well is that for all the people that would say, he's doesn't try or this, we're getting essentially the complete package here, right? We're getting a player that knows he's good, is confident in his ability, and is able to channel it in ways that, frankly, not many in this squad are able to do, right? And I've harped on this. I've said this many times. When he's like this, there's no one in the squad that can do what he can do. That's a great finish. Him taking guys on, he was blowing by the Atalanta defenders, blowing by them. We saw what he did against Atletico Madrid. We saw what he's been doing the entire season. Mm-hmm. He's combining the potential and the ability we all knew he had with a swagger and a confidence. And this is where he's so extremely dangerous because the numbers are going to pile up. Milan are going to have another added dimension to their attack. And when you get Ibrahimovic back and you get Giroud back healthy, this team in the attack can really make more noise than it's already making. So good performance by him. I mean, I think it's anytime you can put 3 up on a team that's in direct competition for top 4 with you away. And that's also another thing too, right? Milan are winning home. They're getting results at home. They're getting results away. There's a lot more balance with this team and they're battle tested. They can go and make that difficult travel and get results like this. So a tip of the cap to the guys. And this is just a great high to ride into the international break.
Again, just mentally prepared. You know what it is. You know when we saw Juve in their prime winning, 9 straight titles,
Yeah.
and every single time they might have been down a goal or only up a goal and not playing great, right? Kind of mediocre at times, especially for their standards. They grind out a win. They find ways to just
Yeah.
dominate. And this is what I was saying last year. I said this to you. I said it on here. I was talking to Torgrud about it. I'm like, listen,
Mhm.
they had big mental wins. The way they won away against Atalanta last year was a perfect microcosm of the progression that they've made as a team. It happened again today. And this is, Matt, I said it during the halftime spaces. They're going to be in this title race to the final match day. Inter isn't as great as they used to be. Napoli's really good. Don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be a 4-team race. Milan's going to be there. They stay healthy. And guys, by the way, if they find a way to get some wins here in the Champions League group, that's more money towards them and the club, and they're more financially healthy. Think about January. They could reinvest within this squad. That's
I
not
think
out of the question.
I truly think that Romain Favre, I don't have his pronunciation down yet.
You got it. You got it.
Um,
It's all right.
I think he's still in play.
Really.
I tweeted this last weekend because he's
Even
off
if
to a
they're in
good start.
relegation, I know we talked about this. Do you
He's
think they
off,
would be willing?
listen, it could be one of those things where he doesn't arrive right away, but I think there's an opportunity for Milan to pounce on him now because his
Mm-hmm.
value is only going to get higher, right? We saw what they did with Yassine
Yes,
Adli.
Adley.
He's playing well for
Mm-hmm.
Bordeaux. He's showing that growth, and if you wait another year, you get priced out of players like this. For I think 17th or 18th place Brest right now,
Mm-hmm.
got 2 goals, 4 assists in I think 8 or 9 games. So he's clear head and shoulders above a lot of players in that
Outplaying
squad.
another right winger that plays for Frankfurt, huh? Interesting.
Well, listen, if I'd assume that Samu is not going to play this sort of role in the team,
He's
or lack
yeah,
thereof, the entire
yeah,
season. I'm assuming something will happen in January with him. That at the very least, Milan will try and appease Pioli even more because you have to show your manager that faith as well. That if he has a player that he wants that is earmarked, that he thinks can put
yeah.
the team over the edge, you got to give him that because he's earned that opportunity to get the players that he needs and those added players and so on and so forth in January. So that's a great point that you bring up as far as the Champions League purse, if you will, that they can potentially generate.
Yeah, listen, and you know what? It's such a great place to be now because players want to be here.
Yeah.
And young, talented players. And I'm happy for Kessie doing that. We'll see what happens with him. I don't think it's dead with the extension. I know we harp on it a little maybe too much, but it's a big deal. Matt, my guy Tonali again. Reason why I have the wig on, have his jersey on right now. I mean, another great game against the top side within Serie A, Matt. He scores a goal, another goal contribution, has a goal contribution against Juve on the road, a goal contribution against Atalanta on the road, being the best Italian midfielder besides Nicolo Barella. Shouts to Pellegrini, playing great. You played Empoli today. No disrespect. Tonali scoring against Atalanta, away to Atalanta, and that's not even his job. He wasn't moved to a 10 position like his manager asked him to, like Mourinho did with Lorenzo Pellegrini. And I'm not even trying to rip on the guy, but think about that. Take it into a perspective, add the context to it.
And I said this to you, right? I think, Tonali not getting called up over Cristante, Pessina. Well, to be fair, Pessina's probably out, right? So there's a good chance Tonali gets that call because Calabria got the call because Toloi's injured. So there's a good chance that Tonali gets that recall.
Kane came up for Immobile. So you see the pattern of the talented youngsters for top sides that are in good form on their way up.
The difference.
Do you think he does though? Because he's the U21 captain.
Yeah, but it depends. I think like the UEFA Nations League, like a lot of
Nations League, they're in the semifinals for it. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, either way, if he doesn't get it now, it's only a matter of time. But the one biggest thing that I've noticed in Tonali's game, beyond he obviously if you just watch the games, you can tell it's night and day. He's just better this year than he was last year. Beyond the minutes, beyond the opportunity, the fitness levels I thought you can see it last year. Right? Because, and he even mentioned that in the summer when everything happened with his reduction in salary, he was talking about, it's a new year. I feel like I wasn't with COVID at my best fitness level. Last year, he was like a step or two behind in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. This year, he's a step or two ahead on his end. When I'm talking turning the ball up the field, dribbling by players, winning the ball back. anticipating that and pressing the ball carrier, because that's on him. I know it's a mistake by Atalanta to not circulate that and get rid of that, but him pushing the envelope and really pressing that.
You take advantage of what's given to you.
He's forcing that. He's forcing that.
Yeah.
So
the pressure is great.
And the finish too. We've seen players miss that. And I'm not trying to, hype him up too much, but we've seen players miss that. He's not a striker, he's not an attacker. He's a midfielder, and he confidently finishes that chance. And we got the ratings up here. So Martina, I'll pass it back to you. What are your thoughts on the ratings here? What stands out the most?
Okay, yeah. Tamori, absolutely. Calabria, yes. Kier, I would knock him down a peg. I think 7 performance is a little too strong considering what he was doing in the first half.
Yeah.
Teo, 7 is fine. He had the assist. Another job. He had 2 assists, I think, right? Because they gave it to him with the Rafael Leao as well. Mm-hmm. So awesome for him. Leao definitely a 7. So good. Kessie deserves 6.5. Nothing otherworldly, but just a really solid performance. Rebic, 5.5. Did some good things, and then you see again why he's not a striker, which we truly can't blame him too much for. But at the same time, you have to make the proper plays because you're a professional footballer put in that position. Pass it to Leao. Just pass it. Yeah. That's all you have to do. Mike, 7 again. Best keeper in Italy, bar none. Brahim Diaz, dude just steps up. Secondary assist, hockey assist, whatever you want to call it. Carlos hates it. Take that, Carlos. Salamaker's a 7. No way. No way.
He's a 6, in my opinion.
I didn't see this. Sorry, Vito. Sorry, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
Wedgie, not a chance. I agree with 7. Dispossessed way too many times. Just the work rate's always great. You never complain about that.
But that's the minimum you ask for a player, right?
The header was terrible, man.
Yeah.
Rebic had a great cross into the middle of the box. Mm-hmm. Salamakers, pick a corner. That's fundamental stuff. Yeah. That's nothing that, is being like, oh, you're never going to be put in that situation. No, every footballer should be practicing.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I think the ratings, 1 or 2 here and there. Salamakers, I think, should be lower. Brahim was, it's funny too, because you watch the performance that Brahim had, and it was like nothing. It was nothing spectacular by any stretch, right? Because we've seen how good he's been playing, but it's great when he's not being asked to carry us with like a big goal, a big assist, and you can have other players step up like Leao or, Tonali, which is obviously something he's been doing from the midfield position. But, Brahim had a good performance, but kind of like a sneaky good performance that kind of goes a little bit under the radar. So that's how good he's been, right? Where he doesn't stand out so much because he doesn't have the goal, but he was very good. He was influential. He was dribbling by guys. Macias, I want to speak on his debut a little bit because I think, like most or many people in Milan Twitter are, very reactionary. I'm not going to blame him on the Zapata penalty. That was a penalty. That wasn't a penalty. That shouldn't have been called, right? Let's be clear here, right? The referee was kind of shafting us at the very end here. I thought Macias had some moments where he looked good. Like you can see,
was dribbling past players. They had to foul him because they couldn't stop him.
Like that's something I'm interested and curious to see moving forward, right? Because if Salamakers is not going to be able to ramp it up from a goal contribution standpoint, right? You touched on the header that he has to do better with. That's not an area you're expecting him to be just so good at. But if he wants to be a player that can score 4 to 5 goals, get 5 to 6 assists a season, well, you got to make the most of those. And he didn't. That's what I'm curious to see if Macias could be more of an influential presence out wide than Salamakers in certain games. And we touched on this in the spaces, right? This was a good match for him to come on because the tempo was there. You can let him run into space. You can let him put guys on still. It kind of had that feeling, right? So let's keep an eye on Macias. I think obviously he's ahead of Samu Castillo, but it's good to have some competition now because I think maybe Salamakers has gotten a little too comfortable. If that makes sense, because no one's really pressed him for that right wing spot. If Macias could come in and be sort of a friendly intra-squad competitor, then I think that'll help elevate both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with that. And it's just a debut with a new team.
Yeah.
Like it takes time to get integrated on top of doing all that stuff as well. Just want to quickly address something within here before we get to man of the match and Pioli stuff. No, Ding Bob Cliff. It's not a double standard with this Milan post stuff. These guys have come in here and harassed us on Twitch. They've done it publicly. It has nothing to do with a double standard. If you don't know what you're talking about, shut your mouth, because this has been a consistent thing. These guys have disrespected us, disrespected the people that we work with, the work that we put out. We're not going to handle this. This has nothing to do with having an opinion or not. This has to do with them being jerks. This has to do with them being unprofessional. So if you want to come in here and do all that stuff, then we don't want to hear it. That's it.
We don't attack them, but guys, we don't
attack other people. We don't attack other people that like them.
We come here to have conversation, to give our thoughts. Everyone's obviously, it's an open forum for people to have thoughts, but don't be disrespectful. Like there's no need for that, right?
And don't say I'm pandering or treating people differently just because of that. If you know what happens, they've gone in here and they've literally disrespected us multiple times.
There's no room for it, guys.
They went at me personally. They've gone at Vito. I don't want to hear this shit. Like, what are we talking about here? If you don't understand that, if you can't grasp that, and I'm not trying to be a jerk right now, then piss off. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to read it. I don't want to see it. Okay? We're not disrespectful people for no reason. If people want to come at us, then we'll come back at you. All right? Bullies get bullied. Simple. Has nothing to do with that otherwise. All right? So we're going to take our pride with our work. And if you don't like it, then you could leave. It's fine. We have a great group of people here that always hang out, chat with us in spaces, in Twitch, in YouTube, in Twitter, wherever else. And we appreciate all the support. And we appreciate everyone that continues to stick with us and all the work that we put out. So, man of the match and Pioli. Pioli, I think I totally agree with the Brahim sub and bringing in Junior Messias. Because you want to know why? Because we were talking about this at the halftime, Matt, with Matteo Milano, and we were all under the agreement it's going to be a little difficult for him. Does he take off Salamakers, who's been poor, or do you take off Brahim Diaz, who was noted and literal comments saying that he weakens over the course of a match, and he was on a yellow? I think you absolutely had to take out Brahim Diaz at that point with the way the match was unfolding, and Junior Messias has been known and said to be, he could fill in as the 10th. He could play out wide on the right, like you were talking about just before. I think it was a good sub by him. I think the 2 goals after he made the subs has nothing to do with Pioli. I think that has everything to do with Messias got fouled on the second goal. I think that was clear. You have to call that. He got the ball first. Zapata makes the contact. The players were looking for the foul. You always play through the whistle. Unfortunately, that goal was allowed. The penalty is the penalty. This is just the way it's going with handballs and everything we've seen. We saw it last year. We're seeing it this year as well. I think everything that he did sub-wise, take off Tonali, give him some rest because he started once again and had that real long match against Atletico. You bring in Benacer, who did his job with that. Pellegrini coming on, can't take away too much from that. Same thing with Ballo Torre. That's why we see these ratings and all this stuff.
Martino, I also have to make mention too, because I think people, if you're after one mediocre performance, right? Because we talked about Ballo Torre and some of these other like fringe players or players that haven't really gotten a ton of opportunity to show what they got.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Pioli, you can't, and if you're just a Milan fan, you can't have this sort of perception and mindset that, oh well, he played poorly once, so now we shouldn't give him an opportunity to play again or to break out of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can't put a player like Ballo Torre or Messias or whoever in a game where you're up 3-0, 3-1 late, then when can you put them in, right? There's no way you can trust to start them.
Yeah.
You got to give them the opportunity to break out, have a positive performance off the bench, and get into a good amount of form. So I don't have a problem with that. These are still some players that are fairly new to the squad. I think Ballo Torre has some things to offer. He obviously hasn't looked that great, but I'm not going to just completely write a player off now.
Sure.
It's guys, you need to stop being a little bit premature, because a lot of you, not directly in the chat, but
a lot of Milan fans,
were writing off Tonali after 1,300 minutes last year. Now he's arguably Milan's best player this season. Arguably. You can make a case, Abi Brahim, Leao, whoever.
It's him. It's fine.
But you know what I'm saying? So pump the brakes. Like, let's not come with the pitchforks out about our players. We're in a good moment. It's a team effort here, and we're going to need a lot of these guys to be in a positive form.
Yeah. It's just, hopefully he assimilates within the squad. Also, this isn't some like hyped up massive talent. Also, this is a left back that we're talking about, and you know who signed him? You know who signed this left back? maybe we should take a back seat regarding this stuff. If he continues to play really poorly for a long time, then we could have that conversation.
Right.
But as of right now, I'm going to give Maldini and the scouting department the benefit of the doubt on that. And it's only 4 million euros, I think. Bella's in chat, being an ass as usual. What are people really mad about with Masai? I don't think people are really that mad about him. I think they're just like frustrated, and they see the first thing that happens that's going to get remembered within this match is the handball.
Right.
Yeah. We could go back and forth on whether or not the subjectiveness of it was right at the end of the day. But yeah. People writing on now. Yeah. Am I the only one who hates Atalanta more than Inter? Personally, no. I never.
I hate Inter. Sorry, guys. I hate Juventus more probably, but
I hate Juve more than anything on the planet. Not even kidding you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I dislike on the. I hate Juve.
Probably like Juve Napoli right at the top. Not Juve Inter. Sorry, Juve Inter right at the top.
It's like Napoli.
Like Atalanta's like right there.
Atalanta for me on the same level. Gasparini, Atalanta. You want to know why, guys? And it's well documented. It's well documented why I don't like Atalanta. There's many reasons as to why. Inter, I don't like them because they're city rivals. I don't have the same hatred for Inter as some other people. I guess I never had that. I think the thing is with Inter is that there's something that like they don't give me a lot of reasons to hate them.
You kind of hate them by association because you're supposed to, kind of.
I think
I
don't know. I really didn't like Lukaku. I thought people like kind of giving Lukaku a pass for what happened in the derby of the Coppa Italia was such BS. The guy was acting like an irrational child with that who should have been sent off. He was an amazing player. But listen, I don't know. I never hated anyone. Like, I respect Zanetti. I never hated, like, Julio Cesar. I never hated, like, Maicon, Lucio. I didn't hate them. There was no they were just, like, better those years in Serie A. Like, there was I never got the point. And I always think Mourinho's hilarious, too. So I just like Mancini. I like him. I think Nick's right. Your brother Nick's in the chat. It's just hate for Inter by association.
Right.
It's because we have to hate them.
Right.
We legally have to. Juve, there's so many reasons as to why to dislike them. Players, managers, ownership, just the whole aura around the club, some of the fans. Like, there's so many reasons to dislike them. Atalanta, right there with Juve, though. Gasparini, total, like, just an unlikable person. They might play great. They might have a great story going on. They haven't won zilch.
Yeah.
A thing. Where's the trophy, man? Show me the trophy. Trophy's on the table, please.
The Rune and all these guys, I know they have it. I know it's social media antics and it's just joking around.
I'm gonna take this off now.
These guys haven't won anything, so I think like we need to kind of pump the brakes on actually talking garbage and the fans in general too. Like, I think it's more so that if you just took away social media conversation with some of these fan bases, the hatred would be a little bit more tempered. But when you have to interact with like just irrational Juventus fans or Inter fans or even Milan fans, like there's people in this fan base.
Our fan base is stupid.
They don't talk with rationality, right? So, yeah, it's with Inter though. To my brother's point, it's just we hate them because we're supposed to. It's like we share the same city, the same stadium. They're always going to be connected,
Yeah, listen. And Cliff, don't worry about it if you didn't know. Nate's in here, by the way. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping on in. Thanks for everyone dropping on in. Shout out to Fatiero, 5 gifted subs. Yeah, we're 30 minutes in. Honestly, I mean, we're going to wrap this up in a second. Let everyone else enjoy the rest of their Sunday. There's NFL football going on. The Jets finally got a win. Unbelievable. I had to keep on switching back and forth. They screwed my parlay. The one time, man. Dude, they win this one, but then again, whatever. So, yeah. I think this was a great win, Matt. We ride now into the break. We're going to get healthier. We have a 2-week break. We come back. We play Verona. Verona dusted. And absolutely.
They annihilated
Spezia
today.
I'm going to put in match MVP. Oh, yeah, by the way, we didn't get to Sandro Tonali man of the match for you, or you had any disagreements, or I'm fine with it.
Probably. I mean, I think that, the goal, the impact in the midfield, the fact that he's riding the hot form still, he's able to go away at home, do it against, good teams, lesser teams, assert himself against anyone. He's probably the man of the match for me. But there was a lot of other players that I think stood out. I think Calabria, his growth, he's going to take the armband. Romagnoli's most likely leaving. Calabria is going to take the armband permanently ahead of Kjaer, in my opinion. He deserves it, frankly. And you can see the growth of a player, right? He's a good player, but then there's a good player and understands the captaincy and the significance of that. So, yeah, I would say Tonali, Calabria, probably
Teo.
Leao. Leao still looks very sharp. So a lot of good performances today, but that's great, right? When you can speak to multiple guys pitching in and giving really good efforts. So as I said, great victory, something to ride into the international break.
Yeah, absolutely. We probably will be most likely coming back on Tuesday. I think Kush, hopefully we can get Kush. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to on Friday. He has some stuff pop up for work, but that's what happens, right? Other than that, subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is Milan Reports. Please do so. If you missed the post-match review, you can go and check it out over there. We have 69 viewers at the moment. Nice. You follow us here on Twitch /Milan Reports. Follow us if you don't. Subscribe to us if you want to. Thanks again. Whatever, Dingbob Cliff, whatever. And then Twitter as well. Follow us on Twitter at MilanReports.com. Go follow Vito on Twitter at Vito Angele. Shout out to Ahmad. Shout out to Joe Calvo, Soccer Guy 1300 for cutting the clips. Should be uploading them around later. Depot, I have no idea if they're going to bring back Adley back in January. I don't think they're going to do so. You shouldn't do that and ruin relationships with the club. You agreed to something, you let him stay there and grow too, because he's not going to get much playing time this season. You have to reevaluate yourselves, potentially a replacement for Rade Krunic. Who knows if Kessie leaves potentially? You could see that happening as well.
Speaking of lone players, just a quick shout out to Tommaso Pobega. First in Derby. Looked pretty good. I know it's difficult against, a team like Juventus, but
played really well.
He held his own, 22 years old. And the guy continues to grow in silence. Maybe not in silence, but more in hiding, right? Because he's not at a big club, but a good player. And, between him and Adley, maybe you have some guys coming back next season that can really make an effort.
Well, I thought you were going to go with another player to shout out, but since you didn't do it, I'll do it. Lorenzo Colombo.
Bangers, man.
Bangers. Oh, my God. This guy is good. And it's like so funny because management gets crap for letting these players getting loaned out. Colombo would be sitting right now. Yeah. He wouldn't be doing anything. Pobega wouldn't get much game time. They're growing under good managers. Spal's a good place for Colombo to grow at Serie B at the moment, and he's taking on the challenge, and he's scoring, and he's not scoring cheap goals. And it doesn't matter if they are cheap goals to an extent, right? Because goals are goals at the end of the season, at the end of the day, excuse me. Yeah. So good growth by him. Colombo up for next year. Too early to say. Let's let the season finish out, and then we can come back and reevaluate there. But hopefully he keeps on progressing and makes Milan puts Milan in a situation where they don't have to potentially look elsewhere for a striker. They could just have who they have. And again, Matt, a testament to how underrated the talent factory that is Milan Primavera, because they're really producing some talented players. They have been, and Milan have been wiser about developing these guys. Other than that, follow Matt on Twitter at Matt_Santangelo. Go follow me on Twitter at Martino Puccio. Should be back on Tuesday. We'll keep you alerted. We'll try and tweet it out. Appreciate everyone that has come in here. Any last words, Matt, before we head out?
No. Thanks for the support. Let's keep riding this momentum into international break and against Verona when we return.
Yeah. We'll be ready for that. Enjoy the international break for everyone. Everyone just enjoy your Sunday as well. Shout out to everyone else hanging out in chat today. Other than that, we will see you guys next time. Bye.